Good afternoon and welcome to English Lessons on Noor TV. And today's lesson we are going to continue where we stopped last time, and that was working on conditional sentences or F clauses. So I'm going to give you more practice today, more sentences, more situations, but I will review the rules for you. Those of you who missed it the last two sessions, you will see, you'll get a chance to what? Explain the rules to you one more time. Then after that, we are going to continue with our listening comprehension. We could not finish it last week. We started with listening to what I read to you. Today, we're going to read the passage together, and then you're going to answer questions about it. So actually, I changed the listening comprehension to a reading comprehension. So you will read something together. You will see the passage on the screen, and then you'll answer questions about it. But of course, there will be also practice of words that you studied before. So I will give you some practice on the words first before you see the passage. And then at the end, there will be a vocabulary test, and that will end our program. Now, let's get to the first part, which is what? Working on conditional sentences. And that is what? The grammar lesson. So let's say the first part is what? Part 1 is the grammar lesson, and the grammar lesson is on if clause or conditional sentences. There are two names for this grammatical structure. So first, the rules. How do you use conditional sentences? There are three rules or three conditional situations. One is what? The possible one. Something that can possibly happen at the present time or in the future time. The last two are what? The impossible situations. Something that cannot happen now or something that did not happen in the past. So there are basically three rules, but they sound so complicated that I need to give you more practice. The first one is what? What we call a true possible condition. Like, as I give you the example last time, if I have time, I watch TV every night. Or if I have time, I will watch TV every night. This is a possibility. So if something is possible, you use what? You use simple present tense in the if clause, and you use will plus simple form in the result clause. So remember, in a sentence like in if clause, there are two clauses. One is called the if clause. That is the one that what? That the clause starts with. So like, if I have time. Because the clause starts with if, it's called if clause. I will watch TV tomorrow. It's a possibility. Also, it's possible to switch the places of this if clause and result clause. You could say what? I will watch TV tomorrow if I have time. So the place of this, the if clause and result clause is not set. You could switch them around. You could start a sentence with if clause, or you could start a sentence with a result clause. But the word if determines which one is the if clause, which one is not. So that's a possibility, because the verbs are what? Future and present. So keep in mind, if you want to state something that's possible, you use present tense and future tense. However, if something is impossible at the present time, you use simple past tense. Look at the second example. If I had time, I would watch TV now or tomorrow. Let's talk about now. Do I have time to watch TV now? The answer is no, because I am on TV. I'm basically teaching on TV. It's impossible for me to watch TV at the same time. Because of that, I cannot use present time. I have to use what? Past time in order to explain that. Actually, in our own language, in Farsi, in Dari, we have the same situation. When you make an impossible condition, you use past tense. If I had time, so if you translate this sentence into Farsi, you will notice that what? You use a past tense in order to express this notion. If I had time, I would watch TV now. It means what? I'm not. And the third example is that what? That you use past perfect in order to express a past conditional. So you say, if I had had time yesterday, I would have watched TV. It means what? I did not have time, and I did not watch TV. Now, I'm going to give you examples with action verbs and more examples with to be verb, and then I'm going to bring you what? Practice. You have seen this slide on the examples, but you haven't seen the slides. The exercises are brand new, but the slides for the action verbs and to be verbs are the ones that I used last week. So action verbs. Action verbs are those verbs that it shows that you do something, like you eat, that's an action. You watch, that's an action. You speak, that's an action. But the verbs that are to be are words that they show state of being. Like you say, I am tired now, so it shows how you are. Or you say, Ajmal is very happy now. Means what? That's how he is. He's very happy. So that's to be verb, not action verb. Let's look at this one. If I go to Kabul next year, so go is what? Action verb. I will visit Kabul University. So this is a possible situation. Why? Because it's very possible for me to go to Kabul next year. I mean, you never know about the future. You don't know what the future holds for you. There may be a chance for me to go to Afghanistan next year, and that I will visit Kabul University. It's not out of question. So you use present tense with future tense. That's a possible future condition, that you use the simple present tense and future tense in order to express a possible future action. Now let's look at the next sentence. If I went to Kabul now, I would visit Kabul University. Now, at the present time, what is the fact? The fact is I'm here in Noor TV in Pleasanton, California. I cannot be at two places at the same time. So that's why the situation is unreal, impossible, contrary to fact. That's why I use past tense. If I went to Kabul now, I would visit Kabul University. So I'm not going to Kabul now, and I'm not visiting Kabul University. Nothing is happening. You use past tense plus would with simple form of the verb to show something which is impossible now. Again, you could switch the position of the if clause in the conditional clause. So you could say what? I would visit Kabul University if I went to Kabul now. Again, if is missing here like it did last time. Number 3, if I had gone to Kabul last year, I would have visited Kabul University. If I had gone means what? I did not go. If I had gone, I would have visited Kabul University. This means you use past perfect for this, and then what? The past form of the auxiliary plus have plus verb PP here. I would have visited. That's exactly how it should be. Now, let me read these sentences for you one more time, and then we'll go to the to be verb. If I go to Kabul next year, I will visit Kabul University. Possible. If I went to Kabul now, I would visit Kabul University. Impossible now. If I had gone to Kabul last year, I would have visited Kabul University. This means what? I did not go to Kabul, and I did not visit Kabul University last year. Now with to be verbs, then it becomes more complicated. So conditional sentences with to be verbs. To be verbs are what? Is, am, was, were, and are. These are 5 to be verbs. How do you use conditional sentences with those verbs? Well, here is one. If Tim is at home tomorrow, you will cook dinner. So it's a possibility that the Tim stays home and he cooks dinner. So you say what? You use present tense, you use will, and that's a possible situation. So you use the present tense of to be verb is. If Tim were at home, now you would cook dinner. Now Tim is not at home. That's what's happening. So you use what? Past tense with present time now. But also you don't say if Tim was. You say if Tim were. So you use the plural form because the situation is unreal. Now again, in a spoken English, when you talk to native speakers of English, with Americans in particular, some of them do use was when they talk. But when you write or when you take a test, was is not the correct form. You have to use were. If Tim were at home now, he would cook dinner. That's a present impossible situation. If Tim had been at home yesterday, he would have cooked dinner. So to use it for past, you use past perfect. You say had been. He would have cooked dinner. You use the would plus have plus verb PP. It means what? He was not at home yesterday and he did not cook dinner. Now, this is what? The past impossible condition. So far, you had seen my slides. Now, let's practice it with new exercises. The first one, answer these questions with yes or no. Again, you need to look at the condition. Is it possible or impossible? If the weather had been good yesterday, we would not have canceled the picnic. If the weather had been good yesterday, we would not have canceled the picnic. Now, was the picnic canceled? Yes or no? Was the weather good? Yes or no? I want you to tell me. Look at the sentence. If the weather had been good yesterday. In other words, is this a possible or impossible situation? We would not have canceled the picnic. So there was a picnic plan. But did we cancel it or not? If the weather had been good yesterday, we would not have canceled the picnic. Question number one, was the picnic canceled? Question number two, was the weather good? The answer is, choose one. If the weather had been good yesterday, was the picnic canceled? We would not have canceled the picnic. Was the picnic canceled? Yes. Was the weather good? No. That's why we canceled the picnic, because the weather was bad. We canceled the picnic. Was the picnic canceled? Yes. Was the weather good? No. Look, if the weather had been good yesterday, it means what? The weather was not good. That's why the weather was not good now. We would not have canceled the picnic. Means what? We did. We did cancel the picnic. Question number two. If I had an envelope and a stamp, I would mail this letter today. I have three questions for this sentence. If I had an envelope and a stamp, I would mail this letter today. Now, do I have an envelope and a stamp now? See, if I had an envelope and a stamp, do I have an envelope and a stamp? The answer is what? No. See, because I use past tense. If somebody uses past tense for present time, it means what? The situation is unreal. No, I don't have a stamp and I don't have an envelope. Do I want to mail the letter? The answer is what? Yes, I do want, but I don't have the stamp and the envelope. Am I going to mail the letter? See, look at the sentence. If I had an envelope and a stamp, I would mail this letter today. Am I going to mail the letter today? Of course not. No. Why? Because I don't have an envelope and I don't have a stamp to put on the envelope.